All right, we got a brand new national park for you today. Virgin Islands National Park. Welcome. Hope you enjoyed the video.
So we just landed in St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. We had a 4-hour direct flight from Newark, New Jersey to warm, sunny St. Thomas. We got off the plane right into the sunshine. There were a lot of people waiting outside to check in at the airport there, and we were just glad to be on our vacation.
And then right after you go through the airport at St. Thomas, you'll see the taxis waiting for you. It's about a half-hour drive to Red Hook. That's where we're going to board our ferry. The road, for the most part, takes us across the entire island of St. Thomas.
Once you finish with the shuttle ride, getting on the ferry is pretty easy. The ferry tickets you can buy right at the counter when you get to the ferry. It was very simple. You just go up and pay about $8 a person for each way. No reservations needed. And once you get on the ferry, you have a beautiful first look at all the islands.
All right, we have made it. That was a crazy taxi ride to get from the airport to Red Hook. We are on the ferry right now. We just made the ferry, kind of last ones to board the boat. And we're heading over to Cruise Bay, St. John, Virgin Islands.
It's about a 20-minute ferry ride over to St. John.
And then when we arrived at Cruise Bay in St. John, we needed to pick up our rental Jeep. We went with a company called Lionel Jeep. They did a great job, super nice people. I think it was around $300 for 4 days of a rental. And I'll say in this video, you really need to have a Jeep if you come here to St. John's.
There's only a few stores on the island, so you can imagine the cost of things are a little higher, actually a lot higher than we would pay normally, but you know, we just needed a few things. We were only there a few days.
The main thing we want to do is show you the sugar plantations in this video, and we had an excellent National Park Service volunteer that educated us on the history and the operations of the plantation. But before we start with this video, let's first begin with checking in to our housing accommodations. We were in the right place, but we went in the wrong entrance.
Oh, look at that. They left us a little note. Hi, Julie. Welcome to the bunkhouse.
They've got some music playing for us too, don't they?
Nice. That's so nice. Super. Are you for real? Do they know you're a pastor? Seriously, that's funny. Did they leave that here? Are we in the right place?
There's a picture of a kid right there in a frame. This is someone's house. I don't know if this is our Airbnb. All right, I think we're officially breaking and entering. I'll be bailing you out of the Virgin Island penitentiary system.
Hi, Julie.
We'll see you later. If you're sure this is the one, you can stay though.
Okay, we're in the wrong place. That is not the thing.
We just broke into the owner's home. I think we're down in the basement.
Oh boy, so embarrassing.
All right.
This is so embarrassing.
There was just something about that didn't feel right to me. I kind of like the old place better, Julie. Can we go back upstairs? I mean, they had a Bible on the table. They can't be all that mean.
Can't be.
All right, this is cozy. Look at that. These roads are absolutely crazy. A lot of sharp turns and a lot of steep hills. I couldn't imagine not doing this with a Jeep. We did some research and they said if you're gonna rent a car, rent a Jeep. Most people here have Jeeps. Definitely get a Jeep. And also remember, stay left. Stay left. 40 years of driving, and it's something you gotta think about all the time, that we drive on the left-hand side of the road here in the Virgin Islands. Guys, all right, we got to move now. Sorry, no food for you.
Just creep.
Now, hey, buddy, you got to kind of move out of my way. So this is the last sugar factory that was built on St. John's. Constructed by a guy named George Francis back in 1874. Originally, he was a slave. Then he was freed. He became one of the greatest landowners here on St. John's. Pretty neat story.
Hi, we are at the Annaberg Sugar Mill Ruins Trail, which is right here. And we're not really sure how long it is yet. We have to check it out. But we know at the end, there's a guy with fresh coconut and tamarind, maybe?
That's all the more reason to do this trail right now. Maybe some cold lemonade?
Maybe. Ice cream. Look at this tree. It's got spears in it. It looks like it's alive though.
I've never seen anything like that in my life. And I do see a lot of steps ahead of you.
They're sharp.
And they're steep.
Color change is so dramatic. And the color of blues, it's like the best color blue in your crayon box.
Sure is beautiful. So as you were saying too, sir, that's Britain over there, right?
That's Britain. Yep, that is. There's the plaque's got kind of a dividing line. I'll kind of explain it to you. But it's over there. Tortola's pretty well shut down now, and will be for a while yet.
The Annaberg Plantation was one of 25 active sugar producing factories on St. John as of 1780. A short trail will lead visitors through the factory ruins, the slave quarters. You get to see the windmill and other remains. One of the best preserved plantations on the island?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yes, this one definitely is. There's 4 more that are similar, but they're not as kept up as well. They wanted to use this one because everything is so perfect. It's all right here. The animal mill is here, the windmill's there, the factory's there. You can see the fields and the hills, and the spectacular view.
Absolutely.
So it does give you a better idea of what it looked like.
Wow, this is fascinating. The windmill itself, built in the early 1800s, was one of the largest on the island. When there was no wind, the horse mill would be used. 300 to 500 gallons of juice from the cane stalks could be produced in 1 hour.
But it was still a profitable place all the way up to 1860. When I say profitable, in 1808, for example, they shipped out 300,000 pounds of muscovado, which is the glop that's made into white sugar. That 300,000 pounds, though, would be something under $1 million in today's dollars, which is pretty good money. But on top of that, you could make rum from the byproducts of the juice, and you could also make molasses that they could sell here. They made a lot of rum.
Oh. When we were there, we were treated to an excellent private tour by one of the park volunteers. He shared with us the sad history of slave trade on the Virgin Islands. Oh, what a sad,
This is
sad part
original.
of the history of the island.
Well, this is the way it was back then. 30% of the slaves that left Africa ended up pretty much in the Caribbean. 55% of slaves that left Africa ended up in Portugal and Brazil, mostly Brazil. And this is a number that just astounds everybody, and unfortunately these numbers are correct. Only, I shouldn't say it that way, 388,000 to 389,000, with them very, very close numbers, ended up in what we call the United States today.
Right.
That's it.
You don't hear about that. I mean, most people assume the United States was the origin of slavery.
Americas, yeah.
And every African American that was captured went over to modern day America. And
Exactly.
that clearly wasn't the
It
case.
wasn't it. And the Europeans, after about 1600, didn't bother going into the interior anymore and getting the slaves. The slaves were brought by other Africans to the coast to be sold in the slave ports to Europeans that took them places.
Another side you don't hear.
You don't
very
hear
often.
that. You
Yeah.
very seldom hear about the king of the country or tribe, I forget what it was, next to the kingdom of Dahomey. 1750, that king, right next to the kingdom of Dahomey, made 250,000 pounds selling his fellow man into slavery.
Wow.
1750.
Wow.
It's an evil system and it's awful, but it's really intertwined all over.
Right.
It's not one source, one problem.
Yeah.
Here's what it
Oh,
is.
thanks for sharing that.
Albeit not good, but your basic needs are being taken care of, and life isn't that terrible usually. And you're hearing stories from other people, more slaves coming from Africa, about what it's like over there. Maybe I'll stick around here, because what am I going to do if I buy my freedom? What if I lose my freedom medallion or my freedom piece of paper, or the register doesn't get it recorded properly and they catch me? Then what do I do? What do I do?
So for the slaves, it was not an easy decision.
No. So
Even though they were emancipated in what year?
emancipation was a different deal. 1848, they were emancipated, but even then they stuck around because they had no options.
They had nowhere else to go.
What do you do?
Right.
I mean, you'd have to worry about medallions and pieces of paper and recording that everybody was emancipated. But still, where do you go? What do you do?
Right. Because these were not, as we said, indigenous people from the Virgin Islands.
Absolutely not.
This was not their country.
Nope.
They had no land.
Nope.
They had no occupation other than what they did here.
Exactly.
Probably very little education.
It was, and this island went down to a population, say in 1808, there was roughly 2,400 people here, 2,400 slaves and about 80 white folk in 1808, give or take.
Wow. So a couple thoughts about the Plantation Tour. If you're looking for a good tour guide, he was the guy. He had the personality, he had the knowledge, he had the ability to communicate very well. But what he talked about, I thought, was very fascinating, because this was, we have to be honest here, a plantation that housed and used many, many slaves. It was run by slave labor, and that is extremely sad. Now, let me make it clear. I love America. I think America has done amazing things for the world. I think many brave men and women, if we go back and look at how this country was established, did wonderful things in acts of courage. But we have some black eyes here in America, and I don't need to say that. It was reprehensible, what we did to the Native Americans and what we did to the African Americans. I'm glad we're trying to correct some of those mistakes, but history still remains. And this is the only point I really want to make. And I don't want to be too preachy here, but we got to teach history. I am tired of hearing people make these stories worse than they are. I am tired of people trying to whitewash these stories as if they never took place. And what I liked about this man is he told it straight. It was unpolished. It was right from his heart and right from the history books. We need to go back to teaching history, accurate history, not revised history, accurate history. Because we don't understand what happened in the past, we will not prevent those mistakes from happening in the future. They shut the gate on you, Julie. Got to spend the night here.
In the windmill. I'll go to the windmill.
You got a little souvenir there.
Piece of coconut from Charles.
What do you think? You like this?
It's really nice. Yeah.